Hi everyone, and welcome back to National Graduate Week 2022. I'm Eloise from Career Map, and today I'm really excited to be introducing you to the team at PwC to talk about their opportunities for graduates and lots of insights and tips on the process. Just to let you know before we get started, this session will be recorded. So if you registered, you will get an email afterwards with the link to the recording and also the link to find out more and how to apply and all of that stuff. Those links will be coming in the chat as well, and I'll repost them again and highlight them to make sure that you've got them. If you have questions, if you think of them as we go, just drop them in the chat. We'll keep an eye on it. And as PwC are doing their presentation, they'll pick up on your questions and hopefully get all of those answered. You can also use the Q&A function if you want, or it can just go in the chat, see how you feel. And then if you have any technical issues, if you can't hear us or see us, just drop in the chat again and I'll keep an eye on that. And that is it from me. So I'm really excited to hand over now to PwC and hope you enjoy the presentation.
Thank you. So hi everybody, hope you're all okay. Thank you so much for kind of joining me today for this session. My name is Beth and I work in our central student recruitment team. So here in the Midlands, and I look after the East Midlands office, I look after the Milton Keynes office, I look after the Birmingham office, look after the Bristol office, and then I also look after our Cardiff office down in Wales. So and this is our graduate opportunity session. The plan for this session then is to give you a bit of a quick intro into who you are, kind of what opportunities we have graduate-wise, a little bit on the selection process, and then you'll have the chance to kind of ask me and some members of the business kind of any burning questions that you have. We will be doing it kind of as it says on the agenda at the end of the session. If you want to pop them in the chat as you think of them and as we go along, that is fine. But I will be answering them at the end. So obviously if there's thousands, we'll kind of do the later ones. So up to you when you ask them, but they'll be answered at the end. So starting kind of with who are we then? Now, some of you might be really familiar with us. Some of you might know us as a big accounting firm. That's what we get called a lot. And some of you might never have heard of us ever before. All of them fine, absolutely fine. But this is just kind of give you a little bit more information on who we really are. So here's a little bit about us on the screen. Our purpose as a business is to build trust in society and solve important problems. And you're probably thinking, what on earth does that mean? I always tell students that you can't go into a shop and buy a PwC product. We don't make and sell a thing. Our product is our people as such. So our people are experts in all sorts of different areas of the business. So things ranging from cybersecurity, forensic technology, corporate tax, indirect tax, legal, audit, digital audit, operations, supply chain consulting, mergers, acquisitions, honestly, the list goes on. I probably couldn't even name all the different things that we do, but other businesses will kind of come to us and ask for some advice. So it might be advice on kind of how to improve their business, how to change something in their business and manage it, or help them make decisions. And us as the experts will give them advice, or we will actually go in and do it for them. So many different specialist areas of the business, and the businesses of all shapes and sizes kind of need support with. So we work with kind of family-owned businesses all the way to like massive businesses such as kind of Lloyd's. We work with Disney, we work with Rolls-Royce. So some really, really kind of huge names. And the situations and the issues that we tackle just super varied. So they could include instances of, could be financial crime that we're helping someone with. It could be a business merging with another business. It could be a cybersecurity breach. It could be company striving to meet net zero. It could be just transforming a supply chain to be more efficient. So many different things that people in our businesses do. And we've got over 25,000 clients across all corners of the UK, and they often have offices internationally. So, you know, we sometimes work with other PwC territories. There's 156 PwC countries that PwC resides in. So, you know, we do sometimes solve kind of cross-border problems. So endless opportunities for you guys to expand your horizons and potentially some opportunities to travel as well, which people always love to get to do. We've actually got 20, almost 20 offices here in the UK. So I think it's 18 at the moment. So kind of hopefully, no matter where you want to start your career, we have somewhere for you in the country that you can come work with us on. So on the screen here, these are all our different business areas of PwC. We call them lines of service. So if I refer to them or someone on the call refers to as a line of service, think of it like a department. That's the simplest way I can put it. It's a bit like a department. And which kind of teams you can apply to depends on the route you go to. All of these currently, except deals, have a graduate role available in them. So there's 8 main areas that you can apply to. But, there are 9 main business areas, but each area has so much more like specialist areas within it. So if we just look at like consulting for a second, within consulting just on itself, you've got strategy consulting, and there's management consulting, we've got economics consulting, got technology consulting, we've got delivering deals value consulting, and then we've even got enterprises, which is a bit like sustainability and climate change consulting. You're just not allowed to officially call it that, but I'm hopefully just trying to show you the gist of what a huge range of areas that you can actually get involved in. So you can do something quite niche, such as like sustainability consulting, or you can do something broader like management consulting, which covers like a variety of issues, not just one niche area. So if you don't really know what you want to do, there's broader areas. If you do know what you want to do, we've got niche areas. I'm not going to like talk through every single area of the business because we could be here for a very, very long time. My advice would be take a look at the careers website. Just search PwC careers into the internet, but I will put the link at the very end. So it's the last thing you've got. And there is a whole section on each individual kind of line of service. Loads of detail. It will show you exactly what the area does. We've got Virtual Park, which is a bit, if any of you played Sims when you were younger, it's a bit like a virtual world. We hold events in there every single week, each focused on a different line of service. So you can come in for 10 minutes, you can come in for 2 hours and get to speak to members of the business virtually and really kind of grill them on what they actually do day to day, because a job description can only tell you so much. And if you do have specific questions about a line of service, very happy to answer questions as well as I can at the end. So in terms of kind of opportunities then, as of this afternoon, I had a quick look just before we came on, we had 96 different graduate schemes to apply to. So just to name a few that was like just like the top 5 on the website that I saw. So we had a graduate role in forensic technology in investigative, I can never say this word, investigative analytics. We had one in cybersecurity advisory. We had an audit role here in Birmingham. I say here in Birmingham, that's just where I am at the moment. We had a graduate tax role in reward and employment. And then we had another one, which was delivering deal value consulting. So just in that like top 5 that I just randomly pulled out, you can see the variety that's on our website. And that's just 5 of 96 for you to have a look at. So we like to think that hopefully we've got something for the majority of people. In terms of the actual graduate programs then, so during your final year or once you have graduated, you are eligible to apply for, excuse me, for a graduate role with us. They do vary in length, just depends which one you guys choose. They kind of range from 2 years to 4 years. So the majority are 3, but 2 to 4 is kind of the range you've got. With every single one, you're going to get genuine responsibilities. You get your own projects. You'll be meeting your own clients and dealing with them. Could be on individually, it could be in a team, and you get the ability to make a difference from the get-go. We're not one of these firms that's just going to make you shadow for your whole graduate scheme and you never actually get to do anything. I'm not saying we're going to chuck you in at the deep end and make, you've got to do everything, but you will be expected to be a real part of the team from kind of day one, and they will train you so that you can really get involved and be a part of the team, get involved in those client meetings, start talking in the client meetings, get pitching for work, get negotiating, present to those clients. You won't be hung around in the back making coffee for people. That is not the culture here. Every single person was hired for a reason, and you will get to show your worth. Brilliant. As it says on the screen, there's professional qualification opportunities. What that basically means is you can take more exams. You take more exams to get a professional qualification. So it could be something like the ACA, so you become a chartered accountant. We've got the CIPD, which is what a lot of people in HR take. There's things like there's tax qualifications, so the ACA, CTA. You can become an actuary with the Institute of Actuaries. Loads of different opportunities. And I know some people are like, why on earth would I want to take more exams after university? Well, the opportunity to do a professional qualification is it's really quite massive. I would say the majority of people here at PwC have a professional qualification on their CV. It opens an incredible amount of doors for you. It shows how hardworking you are, because they're not an easy feat by any means. It shows the dedication you put in, and it says a lot about your character, and skills that you pick up open those doors to kind of anything you want to do next, really. Also on here it says about intakes. So depends on the role when you can start. I would say 99% of them start in autumn, so you're looking at a September start. We have a few, so audit takes people in spring, so that's kind of a March, April start. And consulting, occasionally, it depends on the location, can start in winter, which is like a January start. So obviously depends on what you want, but the majority is autumn. That is all I would say. Just going to cover a few FAQs then, and I'm going to talk about some links that I will post, like I said, in the chat at the end. Where do you find the roles? So they're on our PwC Student Careers website, and I'll post that link at the end. If you also just search PwC Student Careers, you're going to find it. It's very simple. Eligibility. So obviously you've got to be in either your final year or already graduated to apply. The only other kind of requirement we really have for all of them is you must be on track to pass your degree. We used to have a requirement of getting a 2-1, but we've removed it because we don't think that always, your exams at uni, your coursework at uni necessarily demonstrates all the skills that you've actually got. So we've removed that. You just need to be on track and to actually go on to pass your degree. No UCAS tariffs, no A-level requirements for graduate programs, just to pass. Certain roles kind of might require specific degrees. Some of the tech ones, not all of them, it's a minority, but once you find the job you're interested in on the website, on the job description, it will say you need to come from a STEM degree background, or it won't say anything, and you're welcome to apply. Visas, in case we've got any kind of visa candidates here, we do welcome, obviously, applications from all candidates, but there are restrictions to some areas of the business and some kind of routes into the business. If you require a work permit and you require sponsorship, we will sponsor certain roles if you are eligible in terms of your expiry date of your visa. And I will post a link at the end which shows you exactly which ones you are or you are not eligible to. Finally, deadlines. So some of our roles do have deadlines on them, which means, excuse me, you do have to do certain elements of the selection process at certain times. Other ones are rolling, which just means it's first come, first served. So the first, 50 people to pass get the 50 roles. So again, it's on the job description. Just want to be aware of when you're applying, if it is deadline driven, you need to kind of stick to the deadlines. They can't if you miss a deadline, they can't get you back into it because it's already passed. Final things to note, you can apply to one role at a time. So you can't apply to like 10 different roles and think, I'll just get whichever one, or I'll decide along the way. It won't let you. You're going to apply to one. There's a 6-month rule, which basically means If you get knocked out of the process, you have to wait 6 months from the date you applied to apply again. Again, if you try, it will just knock you out. And finally, no age limit on graduate roles. So if you've already graduated, it's been a few years, absolutely fine. Not a worry. Okay. A little bit about the selection process then. So I'm just going to run through our application process, which has kind of these main 4 stages before you get to the offer. And I'm going to go through each stage, give you a bit more detail on what actually that means, try and give you some tips. But if you want to know a little bit more, again, just put a question in the chat for later. That's fine. So step 1, easiest bit, you need to fill in a form. Kind of personal details, nothing more really. Minimum information. We're not going to ask for long-winded questions on your motivations because we'll test it later. We just need to know your contact details pretty much. It's quite simple. Contact details, educational history, any extenuating circumstances or reasonable adjustments. I would really like to stress, if you need reasonable adjustments, tell them as early as possible. It doesn't put you at a disadvantage because it's against the law and morally wrong. We will just get in contact with you, see what you need, discuss the needs, see what we can do to kind of make the application as fair as possible for everybody. So just get in touch with us if you do or think you might require reasonable adjustments. We can always chat it through. So yeah, that's the first stage, nice and easy. Second stage, it might get a little bit tougher. We've got a behaviour-based assessment. It's a series of games. So they're not traditional psychometric tests. There's no numerical test or logistical reasoning quizzes. We don't do it anymore. We've modernized it, made it a series of games. You might not understand what we're trying to achieve at the games, but each game is measuring your ability to do different things, and it's measuring your kind of personality traits. And they capture hundreds and hundreds, well, it's thousands really, of data points. And those data points build up a profile of your strengths and development areas and your kind of personality. And it builds you a profile. And we've got a profile kind of for the job role that you've applied to. And if you match to a certain percentage, you pass. And if your profile doesn't match that, then unfortunately you wouldn't pass. So I get asked every single time I do one of these, Beth, how do I pass the behavior-based assessment? How do I do that? How do I do that? You can't kind of, I guess, cheat the system. We're trying to measure how you naturally approach something, how you react to changes. So don't second guess it and think, oh, well, an auditor should have this skill, so I'm going to do the game like that. It won't work. You need to do it to your natural ability, because if maybe you aren't a natural fit for it. So just be yourself. And there's something called the Employability Hub, which again, I'll share the link for at the end. It is a bit of an e-learn tool for all areas of the selection process. It's got guidance, it has tips, it has practice tests. Do that before you get an opportunity to do some practice. Our behavior-based assessments, the games, are done with a company called Arctic Shore, and they have a website where you can practice the game-based assessment. Obviously, it's not the exact same games, but it's similar. It'll get you comfortable. Have a bit of a practice, make sure you're comfortable, and then read the instructions, give yourself enough time and go for it. We just want to see your personality. So this one is one you can't overthink too much. Next one you could probably overthink a little bit, but video interview then. So video interview, you'll have to record your responses to a range of questions. The questions try to bring to life the kind of projects we do and kind of what it's like to work at PwC. So you'll get given a question on the screen. You get given a set amount of time to prepare your answer. And then once the kind of time is up, you start answering. And again, you need to complete the question within the allotted time. It's all pre-recorded. There isn't someone sat there kind of staring at you. So hopefully that's a little bit more relaxing. There's 3 parts to it, as you can see on the screen. So we've got kind of a wide PwC, your opportunity to explain why you're actually interested in us as a company and in the role. Hopefully that's not too hard as you applied. Second one, scenario questions. So we're asking you how you would respond to different situations in the workplace. So it might be that your colleague has left you in the lurch on a project and the deadline's tomorrow. What do you do? You know, very random. It probably would be a better question than that, but that's the idea. Third one is a mini case study. Nothing major. It's a client-based scenario. So it's another scenario question that you'll get given some extra information. So it might be some financial information. It might just be some written information. Few lines, nothing crazy. You get a little bit longer to go through the information, help it inform your answers, and then you propose a solution to the scenario. That's the video interview format. In terms of kind of preparation, video interview now takes only about 30 minutes. There used to be an hour and we shortened it because, well, it's just to make it easier for you guys. My top tips: research. It sounds very simple and I will shout it until I'm blue in the face. You will not get through any interview with anyone, let alone us, without researching. So that is, researching the company, the role you've applied to, the industry. Like, do you know what you've applied to? We're not asking you to tell us what's in our annual report from 2014. I just want to know that you know what you've applied to and you're enthusiastic to do it. Positive first impressions. You need to be confident. You don't have to be extroverted, but you need to be confident in yourself. Focused, remember to smile. It's a real person marking it. So I know it's not a real life interview situation, but as close to that as you can get it always wins you. Look at the camera as much as you can. Obviously don't stare it down because that's not very natural, but pretend there is someone there, look at them, smile, retain eye contact as much as is natural. And yeah, just try and be as calm as possible. I know it's hard, which kind of brings me on to my next tip, which is practicing. Try and do a trial run. So whether that's recording yourself, whether that's getting someone else to record you, getting someone to put you on the spot and ask you random questions so you can kind of get that pressure. I always found video interviews really strange because I could see myself doing it on a big screen. It's not like Zoom when it's all little. So you're just staring at yourself and you just look strange. So yeah, trying to get yourself as comfortable as possible with just looking at yourself talking. So doing it in front of a mirror, always a great thing to do. And then just technology problems. It sounds so simple, but people don't check their Wi-Fi before. Check you've got a good internet connection. Make sure your microphone's working, all your audio, everything like that. We will do our best to accommodate it afterwards, if something random goes wrong. But obviously just check it before. It will save you so much stress and it'll save time with us having to review it and then send you another one. So just check your Wi-Fi pretty much. All right. So next step, and usually the last step, and we're almost there, guys. This is our career focus day, also known as an assessment center, an assessment day. And as you'll see, it is virtual. So this is kind of the big one then. If you've passed everything else, so your behaviour-based assessment and your video, you come to us for half a day virtually. And there are 4 tasks in this day. So you've got a one-to-one interview with someone like me. You have a group exercise where there's 3 or 4 of you in a group, and you've got a numerical task to do, and you've got a written task to do. It might sound like a lot, I appreciate, but you will have plenty of preparation for this. So along with the employability hub I spoke about earlier, you will receive something called a candidate readiness call. They will share the format with you. They will share the technology so you understand the system you're using. They will give you some tips on how it's kind of best to actually prepare, and they'll answer any of your kind of burning questions that you have. Kind of top tips on this are very similar to the video interview. You need to have done your research for your interview. Absolutely. This one is more in depth than your video interview. So It's split into two. So one half is scenario questions, very similar to your video interview. And the other half is motivational questions. And there's more of them this time. So this is your real opportunity, because it's not timed, to demonstrate your motivations for the firm, demonstrate your motivations for the role, show you've got that real knowledge of the role you're applying to. Like, if you are doing a professional qualification on the graduate scheme, do you know what it is? Do you know how long it takes? Like, how long are you studying for? How many exams do you have to do? We want to get the impression that you really want to work for our company. You're really knowing what you're applying to and you really want to do it. We get thousands of applications, but if you can show us those things, you're in with a very, very good shot of passing. And it sounds simple, but people don't do their research. You need good time management. Like I said, there's four tasks for you to do. So during the assessment center, write down the deadlines and make a schedule before you start and stick to it. You don't stick to it, that's when people get into sticky situations and they don't hand things in on the deadline time and you lose marks. And finally, communication skills and relationship skills will get you very far. The group exercise, obviously you've got the interview, one-on-one interaction, very important, but the group exercise is really your opportunity to shine and show, how good are you in a team environment. Yes, being a leader is good, but being a team player is the main thing. You've got to ensure you're balancing, quality content of answering the questions in the group exercise with interacting with your team, whether that's giving them feedback, asking questions, making sure everyone is involved. I'm sure we've all been in a group situation at some point in our lives where there's one person who doesn't say anything. And whether that is frustrating or it's not frustrating because you don't know the situation, be that person to bring them in and ask them their opinion. If you do that and they don't want to get involved, that's fine. But be that person. That shows good leadership. Sounds very simple, but those are the things that will get you to the pass. They'll get you there. And finally, don't panic when you see this one. Very few roles, 1% of the roles, if that, require a senior interview. It will make it clear on the job description when you apply. If it is, it's right at the bottom. And if you do have one, you get prepped by your recruiter, so you know what the format is, you know what to expect. They might try and give you some tips of things to research. And they're held by the members of the business. So if you apply to audit, they're held by an auditor. And they last between 30 minutes to an hour. Kind of depends. Well, it depends how chatty you are and depends how long, depends how long they've got. But yeah, very, very few roles actually have a senior interview. All right. That's enough for me for at least 5 minutes or so. So now I'm going to kind of introduce you to two of the members of our team. So we have Verity and we've also got Wendy. And I'm just going to let them kind of introduce themselves, talk you through a little bit about who they are, what they do, and their journey here. And then after that, we'll kind of ask some questions. And yeah, so Verity, do you want to go first?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, all good, thanks.
Yeah, just thought I'd check. Hi everyone, I'm Verity. I joined the firm about a year ago now, just over a year ago. So before that I did a mechanical engineering degree at the University of Birmingham. So obviously it wasn't related to audit. I think that's a good example of the fact that I've had the right training from PwC and they've not assumed that I had that prior knowledge. So if you're doing like a degree that's not related to your grad scheme, then yeah, it is possible. I'm doing the ACA audit qualification as part of the audit grad program that I started in September, which means that hopefully, if all goes well, I'll be a qualified auditor in just over a year's time. Since I'm in my second year, I'm an associate 2 now. So you're an associate 1 in your first year. I'm now associate 2. I've loved being part of audit. It's been a chance to work with so many different clients from different industries, things from hotels to car manufacturers. It's been a great chance to learn how different businesses work. And I've had an amazing variety of opportunities, even including volunteering to help at a local school. So there have just been some really exciting opportunities, even in my first year. I'm proud to be a part of the Birmingham office. So I'm not originally from Birmingham, but I moved here for university and decided to stay. And I love the office. I love the free coffee. I love the fact that there's like hot desking, which means that I'm sitting next to someone different every time that I come into the office. It's been a really great chance to meet new people. I've loved the social side. And that's why this year I joined the social committee. So we organise events and socials, things like drinks at the end of the month or away days to theme parks and our amazing winter ball and summer party. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me. Feel free to ask me questions.
Brill, thank you. And then Wendy, do you want to go next? Oh, Wendy, you're on mute, I think.
Okay, try again.
There we go.
Yeah. Excellent. So as we were saying earlier, make sure you know which buttons to press in preparation for your videos and your assessments. So hi everyone, lovely to see everybody online. I've been with PwC for many years, started my career as an auditor, and have moved around quite a few of the lines of service that you saw on that lovely pinwheel earlier. I've worked in quite a few of those different departments, including deals, our internal firm services, HR function, our learning and development function, and also spent 12 months out on a client's comment a few years ago. I've come back to where I started, so having been around the country, working in the Midlands, London, I've now returned back to my hometown of Cardiff, where we're leading a growth plan for our Cardiff office. So we're planning to grow here and extend our services wider than what they've historically been. So if anybody is based in Cardiff or fancies coming back, then it's my plug to get you to come and find out a bit more about us. Keep your eyes on the website. I guess just a few things around why I've stayed with PwC for so long. I think there's some amazing opportunities. Every time I've got a bit of itchy feet and thought, oh, do you know what? I'm a bit bored of what I'm doing now. I've looked around the firm and found a different opportunity. I've extended my network, got to know some great people, the variety of the work we do here. And it's got to be said, the quality of the people we work with, both internally and externally with our clients, is absolutely fantastic. And all of those things, along with everything that Verity mentioned around, our social mobility agenda, the work we do with schools in terms of outreach programs, the social aspects of working with many people who are a similar age or got very similar, pleasures in life and hobbies. It's great. And meeting so many people from diverse backgrounds. Yeah, definitely the variety of the people and the experience is what's kept me here for so long, that's for sure. Brilliant. Back to you.
Thanks, guys. So now we are on to questions. So no more of me talking through slides with you guys. So very happy to work through the questions that we've got so far, but also please put in questions, whether they are kind of recruitment based and I can pick them up, or if you want to know more about PwC itself and then, or audit, especially, like Verity is an absolute expert. So yeah, ask Verity and Wendy, whatever you'd like, questions about their career or just questions about PwC. But I'm quickly going to just tackle a few of these recruitment questions. I know it's something that we did cover, but I will just re-emphasize. So Lara asked, how many graduates do we usually take on every year? Really good question. Targets change every year, so there's not like a set number. Last year we took on, gosh, I think it was the most. We took on just over 13,000 kind of graduates and school leavers. So yeah, a lot, but we had just shy of 100,000 applications. So it is busy. But obviously you follow my wonderful tips and you'll be one of those 13,000. But yeah, about 13,000. We are the UK's biggest recruiter of kind of student careers. So you usually have a really big cohort of graduates, which is very attractive to a lot of people. Claire's asked, are graduate roles based at a certain location? Yes, so certain roles will be in every single office. So like audit is a big one. It's in the majority of the offices. Some roles might only be in a specific office. I will, at the very end, put a link up to the graduate website, and you can filter by location, or you can filter by the role and just see where it's available. Someone's asked, would we consider a 2-2? Yes, as I said, you just have to be on track for a pass. So that's changed this year, and we're very excited about that. Some people are asking very specific questions about themselves, so I'm just kind of try and give a bit of general answers. Doesn't matter what degree you have. So someone's asked about kind of fintech, someone's asked about project management. We didn't ask for specific degrees for the majority. So no matter what you've done, you can apply. Someone said they've already applied and didn't pass. Just wait 6 months and you can try again on a different role. It's absolutely fine. Let's see if there's any ones for you guys. Oh, okay. So the latest question is quite an interesting one. What do people do in the audit role typically go on to do after their 3-year program? Wendy, you might be a good one to answer this actually, as you've done a stint in audit.
Yeah, I can start there. So lots of people stay with us and continue their career within audit, which is an interesting part of the firm to be in, particularly at the moment with lots going on in the external environment. But I think the real benefit of audit is it gives you a really good foundation into business, a really good insight into how businesses work. It gives you exposure to different sizes of businesses in different industries, depending on which team you're in. So it can really open the door to lots of other opportunities. So speaking personally, once I qualified as a chartered accountant, I then moved into our transaction services business, which sits in the deals line of service. So that's all about mergers and acquisitions. So I worked in that part of the business for 5 years. And then after that, I moved into an internal firm role. So there were some questions about, are there any operational roles? I then moved away from client service into an internal role, initially within learning and development, and then within HR. So hopefully I've answered a couple of questions in one. But the answer to the what do you do after audit is, well, anything really. The doors open to you, whether that's within the UK, whether that's a different line of service, whether that's to leave the firm and go and work somewhere else and then maybe come back one day, or to stay within audit and progress your career there. So a great foundation and a great start to your career.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people, when we ask kind of why they want to work in audit, they say because it's such a good foundation. It really shows you kind of the details of a business, of a client's business, and you work with so many different clients, so many different industries, so you really get to see kind of all the operations and how it works. Verity, I've got a specific question for you actually. Someone has asked you, how was the application process for you in terms of going from an engineering degree to audit, and how did you select audit?
Oh, that is a very good question, because it was something that I was a bit nervous about. I was worried that other people would have expertise that I didn't have. But actually, it wasn't that way at all. I think at PwC, we really value the fact that different people have different experiences. So actually, it was almost a good thing, the fact that I had all these like different experiences that I picked up from engineering. And that's the reason why I wanted to go into audit, is the fact that, like Wendy was saying, I can work with a variety of different clients and I can see the sort of business and finance side of these engineering businesses, which I thought was really, really interesting. So when I was applying, I just tried to think about what skills I'd picked up from my degree and from my experiences working in engineering that I could apply to audit. So I sort of researched a bit around what audit was and what sort of skills I thought I might need. And it really comes down to things like teamwork, can you adapt to different situations? So I just tried to think about how I could transfer those skills over to audit. So that's what I recommend if you're coming from sort of a different area of expertise, or like a different sort of degree. And yeah, I chose audit just because then I get a chance to still do a little bit of sort of engineering, working with engineering clients and a variety of different clients. I got to go to a car factory recently and see all the robots making the cars, because they were one of my clients. So yeah, I liked audit for the variety, but also the fact that I get that qualification, that ACA qualification, and I think I just thought the world is your oyster after that. So yeah.
Brilliant. Did anyone notice Verity's keyword of saying she researched before she applied? That was great. I didn't even ask her to say that.
Promise.
I'm just going to fly through some quick recruitment ones because hopefully we can cover a few. So someone's asked, do we need prior experience to be considered for the role? Nope, we do not ask for any role, any prior experience. If you have prior experience, that's fine. It will not put you at a disadvantage as long as you know how to talk about it. You can't use your experience as a kind of substitution for no research. You still have to have research, but if it can help improve your answers, brilliant. People are asking me to share the links. I will at the end. If I do them now, they'll get lost and I have to do it about 10 times. I will do it at the end, I promise. I won't forget. What have we got? Lots of people asking what will set you apart, like the top 3 things. You know, my first one's always going to be research. It will always be research. You'll never, ever hear me say anything else. You could ask anyone who works in recruitment, it will be research. So research. 2, I would say, and again, I kind of covered this, the communication skills. I'm like that team player. In the group exercise, you'll get a lot of people either being amazing leaders and really, you know, going first and striding out and giving fantastic ideas and being very confident, which is great. You also get people who aren't like that, but when they're asked for their opinion, they will give you the most fantastic, like quality answers. It's great. But you need the person who's half and half of that. That's your key person. You want someone who can be a team player, can do a little bit of leadership, so help facilitate the discussion, help bring in points from other people, build on other people's points. So it's that kind of ability to balance leadership, team player, and then like quality content. The third thing I think that makes you stand out in the application process, it's going to be your kind of, I don't want to say personality, it's your relationship skills. It's how you kind of bring yourself across. You do not have to be the most extroverted person, the most confident person to pass in an assessment day or to be successful at a big company. It's just not true. Most people are very nervous doing assessment centres, and we're absolutely used to that. But showing kind of elements of your personality and making sure you are very clear, you're very concise, those kind of things will get you those marks. And I think people are looking for some magic answer when they say, you know, what's going to make me stand out? And it's not. It's really quite simple things. But if people listen and they do them, I promise you, you'll succeed. You've really just got to do your research and focus on those communication skills, and you should be a winner. Right, a few more recruitment ones. Can you apply to different graduate roles at the same time? No, one student role at a time, and it's every 6 months. Oh, okay. Wendy, a question for you then. What do you consider to be the best feature of PwC, and what makes us stand out compared to other firms?
So I would say the culture and the kind of the approach. So if you have a look at our annual report, and particularly hone in on the video that's on the people section there, that Ian Elliott, our Chief People Officer, has posted, I think that gives you a really good flavour of the kind of culture and approach that we take at PwC. We're often kind of ahead of the curve in things like hybrid working, workplace of the future, how we work, diversity and inclusion. We've shared a lot of our statistics ahead of any kind of formal requirement to do that. and we do a lot around social mobility, and really kind of thinking about the broader ecosystem that we can impact in the work that we do, which comes right back to the purpose that Beth spelled out for us at the start of this session. So I think I'd probably sum it up as culture and attitude of the people who work here. It's a super collaborative environment. I think, you know, without pointing fingers and naming names of other large competitors, I think we are potentially known as the more collaborative of some of the big four, and really want to work together regardless of which part of the organisation you work in. And I think that's some of the feedback I've got from people who've gone elsewhere over the years and have kind of compared and contrasted the culture of the different firms. Everybody's different, and different firms are going to appeal to different people. But for me, that personally is some of the kind of the highlights.
Brilliant. Okay, a few more recruitment questions, which I will try and be super quick on. Is the selection process for all lines of service? Very good question. 99% yes. There is one role called strategy, and which is part of the consulting line of service, which has a slightly different process because you have to do a cover letter. It's the only one. Everything else follows those kind of 4 steps, and a few have that senior interview, which is on the job description. So yeah, just strategy, and because they just like to be a little bit different, and it's very popular. So that's what I'll say about that one. A lot of people are asking about visas. I will put the link, like I said, at the end, which will tell you which programs you're eligible for. You have to be on a Tier 4 student visa to be eligible for a graduate program. If you are not on a Tier 4 student visa, unfortunately, you are not eligible. There is not a specific program for international students. You are on with all the domestic students, I guess. So yeah, just have to be on a Tier 4, and we will be able to sponsor you on a skilled worker visa. Let's have a little look what else we've got. Verity then. So someone's asked about remote working. So do you work in the office, or are you a remote worker kind of, and what is the split like at PwC?
Yeah, so as you can see, I'm actually at home today, but that's because I've been studying for an exam for my professional qualification today. But I do like to go in. I tend to go in sort of 4 days a week out of the 5. But it's generally 2 to 3 or more days in the office. But there are times when we're also on client site as well. So we'll go out to the clients. It just means that we can talk to them and collaborate with them more. So that's something quite exciting, is that you get the chance to travel and sometimes stay in different cities. But I do like to be in the office because, like what Wendy was saying earlier, the thing that's so great about PwC is the people. I've made so many amazing friends, not just from my intake and people my age, but just everyone I work with. I love going in. It does sort of make the day better, just being able to chat to people. And I also love the office. It's a nice environment. Really good. I know I mentioned it before. Really good coffee, and we've got a sort of canteen. Yeah, all of our offices are really nice spaces. So I think even though there is that option to work from home, I personally enjoy working in the office.
Brilliant. Yeah. What about you, Wendy? Are you what was your kind of split?
Yeah, so I've gradually built up my return to office. So I'm now usually in an office 3 or 4 days a week. I'm actually going to work at home tomorrow. But I too have really enjoyed being back with people, and just having those kind of incidental conversations where you bump into somebody or you overhear somebody on the phone, so you can learn something from what they're doing. Oh, I was talking about that with somebody else. What are you doing? Those kind of incidental conversations that are really hard to recreate when you're working virtually. And yeah, I mean, I'm in the Cardiff office right now, and we're just going through a refurbishment, so it is a bit crazy here. But we're taking an extra floor of this building and refurbishing it to make it a bit more aligned with some of our other offices. But as Verity said, the quality of the office space is fantastic. There's lots of different seating arrangements, so you can sit at a formal desk, you can have a sit desk where you can stand up or sit down throughout the day, and you press a button basically and the desk goes up and down.
Oh yeah, I love the stand desk.
There's monitors, so that I've got 2 screens here, so I've got my laptop on the desk here and I've got a screen in front of me, so that just makes it easier for me to work. There's individual workspaces, so little pods where you can either sit on your own or have a meeting with somebody else. There's soft seating, there's collaboration spaces. It's all really kind of modern and varied. So whatever task you're doing in that hour or during that day, you can find the right workspace for you. And whatever kind of is your preference as well. So if you're somebody who likes to work in a quieter environment, then you can find that kind of space to work in. If you're somebody that thrives off being around others, a bit more like me, then I'm sat here on a big table that seats kind of 6 or 7 people, and we all sit around and interact throughout the day. So yeah, I'd say lots of advantages to being back in the office, but very much hybrid. Some people are still 1 or 2 days or 3 days at home, but most people are now getting back into a bit of a mix.
Yeah, so every team is so different. At the moment, we're usually 2 days in the office. We're currently 1 because we are out on campus. So we're going to university. So I mean, next week I'm literally all over the place. I'm in Bath, I'm in Bristol, I'm in Coventry, and then I'll do 1 day in Birmingham. So we're a bit all over the place, and I've got a day in London in a few weeks. So yeah, we're a bit all over the place. Going to whiz through a few more questions because I'm appreciating it towards the end. Someone's asked, are there a particular role that requires visiting client site? Very much depends on the role you apply to. When you read the job description, a lot of them will mention like client sites, some of them won't. They actually kind of tell you more, and that's where a good little thing about research will come in, where it tells you auditing obviously is quite a big one when you're visiting client sites, because so you spend a lot of time interacting with clients, but also you will be doing things called stock counts, where you'll go to their, I probably should have asked Verity to explain this rather than me, but you'll go to their kind of offices, factories, like Verity said she went to car manufacturer, and you will test and count things. I'm sure there's more technical words for that. But yeah, so audit is obviously quite a big one, but all of them you'll do a lot of interacting with client. Let's have a look. What else do we have? Someone's asked about technology programs. Do we need to be skilled at all programming languages? No, you don't. Obviously, if you do have any experience, that's amazing, and you can talk about that. But no, we do not expect anyone to be experts when they've never had a job before. That's absolutely fine. Someone's asked about marketing roles for graduates. So we don't offer a specific marketing graduate scheme. There may be, I can't fully confirm, some business solutions graduate schemes coming out here very, very shortly. Business solutions is something that I work in. So that is things like learning and development, HR, recruitment, anything internal where we help other members of the PwC team. So watch your space is what I'd say for that one.
There is a question on project managers as well. Anybody who's looking online around project management, I'd direct you to either a consulting role or a role in our Operate business, which is a managed services team, which largely operates out of Belfast, but there are other sites as well, including Cardiff. Come here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Question for Verity then, actually. Someone has asked, what are typically the day-to-day activities for someone working in audit?
Oh, that's a good question, because the thing I like about audit is that every day is different. So we've already spoken about the fact that you'll be in different places on different days. But I also work with different teams on different days. Some days I'll have more sort of meetings. So a big part of audit is you need to work with the client. You need to ask them for things. You'll need to ask them questions about things. So I'll have meetings with the client. Sometimes that's virtually, or if I'm on client site, then sometimes I'll meet them in person. I'll have team meetings, so meetings with the rest of my audit team, but also meetings with people from different areas of the firm as well. So we work with teams like the tax teams to sort of to do our audit, to do our work. But but I do also spend time doing the testing itself. So it's quite a lot of working with Excel, and working with a lot of working with technology actually, to testing. So yeah.
Brilliant. I think I've got 3 more questions that I spotted, which should be quick ones. If anyone's got any big final questions, I could probably answer 1 or 2 more. So someone asked, are there graduate roles in consulting available? Yes, absolutely. When I send the link, and I'm going to do it as soon as I finish these questions, you can filter by consulting. There's an absolute stack of them. So yes, you hopefully can find one you like. Question from someone who says, for people who have recently graduated, will the start date be earlier? The start date will depend on which role you've applied to. So they'll say a season. So the majority will say autumn 23, which means September 2023. Some will say spring. So you're looking at kind of end of March, start of April. There's not many which say winter 23 now, because that is like January 23. And obviously that's very close to that. So most of them are finished. So yeah, if you apply to an autumn role and you've already finished, we can't make it start any earlier because you start as a cohort, so you will be starting in September. Someone's asked, can postgraduate students who are yet to finish their program apply? You can, as long as you finish by September next year and you're applying to an autumn 23 start. So yeah, if you're in your final year of something and you're finished by September, you can very much apply to an autumn start. And someone said they have work experience and they've just done a master's. Can you apply for student graduate programs? Yes, absolutely. You can apply to a graduate program even if you've got years of experience. We might not recommend it because you might want to go for an experienced higher role, but very much, of course, you are welcome to apply, see if it suits you, if it's something that's interesting. Absolutely. Someone's asked me to resend the link. I've not sent it yet, which is why, because I said at the end, so I'll send it just in a second.
Just a quick question there on any graduate roles related to data. When you get the link, if you filter on the line of service called risk, you should find some data specific roles, data and analytics, but lots of our roles, data will be a helpful background. So even if you wanted to be an auditor, then data is helpful, but specific ones are available in our data analytics team too.
All right, so I've just put as a sticky message. I'm hoping everyone can see that. That's the employability hub. So if anyone wants to copy that down now, that's good. And then I will post some more. I'm also going to post something which is called our talent network. So what the talent network is you sign up, you put in what your interests are, and then it'll kind of send you what's the word? Specific emails focus on your interests. So it might tell you when a role goes live, when there's an event near you, and things like that. So it's a really good opportunity for you to put things on. Right, there we go. Let me put the link to that one. That is the talent network. You can just put all these in the next tab. All right, and then the one that everyone's going to want. This is where you find them. There you go. So that's kind of your student careers. But like I said, if you just Google PwC student careers, it will also pop up. And then I will post the one. Practice your base assessment. Gosh, so many links going up. And then very finally, we'll do the visa one for you. It's also called a work permit. So I'd call it a visa, but on the website, it's called a work permit. It is the website I've been talking about. Anyone who's asking about recording, yes, it will be sent over to you guys. And that's the work permit one. Someone's asked me to do the employability hub again. I'll do that one again. But yes, that is kind of it from PwC side. So thank you guys all so much for listening. Thank you, Wendy, and thank you, Verity. And I'm passing back over to Career Map to just finish up for you guys.
Thank you so much. What a great session and so much information there. I'm sure all of you will want to come back and watch that recording again, and hopefully you grab those links. If not, as mentioned, you can Google employability PwC, and you should be able to find your way there, but grab the links while it's still up. And yeah, just thank you so much for your presentation and for taking the time to come and speak to us. Thank you so much to all of you attending for coming along to hear, and make sure to check back on the website to see what other events are going on this week, as there's much more. And other than that, thank you again and have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you, Beth.
Thanks, guys.